G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA, where we ask the question, is it okay to have a tantrum and not go to a wedding because your kids aren't allowed at a child-free wedding? Now, if you love today's body good content, I want you to sit back, relax, smack that like button, chuck a prawn at the Barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Let's go! Am I the asshole for telling my entire family that my cousin's child-free wedding isn't 100% child-free and refusing to attend? I need some insight to see if I'm in the wrong because I really don't feel like I am. I, 32 female, just received an invite to my cousin Alex's, 30 female, wedding. It stated on the invite that the wedding was child-free. I'm not new to child-free weddings, but what has me frustrated is the fact that there will be children in the wedding. Alex plans on having her future husband's nieces and nephews at their wedding. I overheard her asking if her niece could be the flower girl at a family get-together. This confused me because child-free means no children, so I called Alex and asked. I told her and said that if her nieces and nephews are going, then my daughter, who is 5, similar in age to her nieces and nephews, should be allowed to go too. Alex said that only those in the bridal party are the exception and that she wants her nieces and nephews at the wedding. When I asked why they could come and not my daughter, she said that it's because she knows her nieces and nephews are well behaved, so there will be no issues. She also knows her sister and brother-in-law's parents very well, and to top it off, she's a teacher who wants a day where she doesn't have to deal with the children of others. She also said that she is closer to them. I told her that her reasoning was ridiculous because child-free means no kids, including her nieces and nephews. Alex then told me I was more than welcome to decline the invite, so I did. I ended up venting to my mother, married to Alex's dad's brother, and while she didn't agree with Alex, she said that she could understand her feelings. However, my dad didn't like it and called her dad, my Uncle Mitch, asking why my daughter would not come. Mitch told my dad that it is Alex's wedding and she can do as she pleases. He also said cousins are not the same as nieces and nephews, especially since they're in the bridal party. My dad said since Mitch is paying for it, that he should talk Alex into allowing children. But he declined and said that he and my aunt don't believe paying for the wedding gives them a say, and even if it did, he agrees with Alex. This upset my dad, so he then told other family members. Now several members are upset that Alex and her future husband's nieces and nephews will be there, but no one else is allowed to bring their children. We have a fairly large family, and we all watch each other's children, so finding childcare will be difficult. Most of the family say that it's Alex's wedding and her reasons make sense, but I and some of my cousins are refusing to attend. Alex doesn't seem to care one way or the other. One cousin told Alex that she was bringing her child anyway, to which Alex said, "Make sure you wear sneakers so it's easier on your feet as you're escorted back to your car." Which is how we found out that she's having the security guard from her school checking the guest list and that he knows to not let any children in. Am I the asshole? Now in the comments, this has made me laugh. It is her wedding, not some admissions policy for a restaurant. You are basically trying to speak to the manager to demand your own way at someone's wedding. Drop it before you create any more drama. Yes, you're the asshole. I loved how her dad tried to convince the bride's dad to leverage paying for the wedding to force extended family members to be allowed to bring their kids as well. The policy the bride has is pretty standard for a child-free wedding. Many of them still include close family kids or kids in the wedding party. Every action taken by OP and those on her side just drips with entitlement. I really hope some of them do try and show up with their kids and end up being escorted out. Anyway, you're the asshole. Judging by how OP and her family is reacting, I understand why the bride has already arranged for security at the wedding. The bride knows what they are like. You're the asshole. It's her wedding and she gets to decide who can come or not. You complaining to your parents and having your dad call her dad to complain is childish. It might seem unfair, but it's her wedding and you don't have any right to argue with her about any decisions that she makes. If you don't agree with her rules, then do exactly what she said and don't go. She isn't forcing you to do anything that you don't have to do. It genuinely baffles me why people are so keen to take their children to weddings. Info. Have you always been the family pain in the ass? Your behavior is awful and you need to just stop. Alex can invite who she wants. You don't get to have a say. You don't get to cause family trouble. It makes you look bad. Stay home so the adults can have a nice time. Grow up, you're the asshole. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for wanting to talk to my wife about why I'm upset? My wife and I have a 2-year-old son. About a month ago, his daycare center closed its doors due to staffing issues. We were given 1 week notice before they closed and had to scramble to find someone to care for our son during the day as we both work full-time. Luckily, her mum doesn't work and was able to come to help us out. We've been looking for a new daycare, but it's been a struggle. So for the last month, my mother-in-law has been living with us. I know my son loves his grandma time and mother-in-law is good with him. I will also admit that my mother-in-law does help out around the house with small stuff like dishes and laundry that I do appreciate. But at the same time, it's been a month and I'm just feeling very cramped in my own house. I wake up and mother-in-law is there, usually on a video call with her sister having coffee in the kitchen. I come home from work and mother-in-law is there. I try to watch TV and mother-in-law is there. It's just getting to be a lot for me. I find myself being very short with my wife and just being angry a lot. My wife has noticed and I told her that I'm frustrated with the daycare situation and just stressed with having my mother-in-law there. She told me that mother-in-law is doing us a huge favor and I need to suck it up and deal with it. This past Monday, I had a particularly bad day at work, so I got home already in a rough mood. During dinner, mother-in-law just kept going on and on about her sister's kids and some problems they were having. I didn't say anything, I just kind of kept my head down and ate my dinner. My wife noticed I was quiet and asked me if I was okay. I told her I just had a rough day and I was fine. A little later, I was on my phone looking through emails about a new daycare, and my wife asked me again if I was okay. I told her I was fine, just trying to find a new daycare. Not even 15 minutes later, she asked me again, and I kind of snapped at her that if she asked the question 6 more times, maybe she'd get a different answer. Mind you, every time she asked me if I was okay, mother-in-law was right there too, so it wasn't like I could tell my wife that living with her mum is driving me nuts. I then decided to take the dog for a walk to clear my head a bit, and mother-in-law said that she would come with. I just about screamed. The entire walk I just listened to her babble on about whatever thoughts came into her head, and by the time we got home, I was mentally exhausted. I just wanted to go to bed, but my wife asked me again if I was okay. I finally told her I didn't want to talk about it because it's not going to change anything. And the last time I told her how I felt, she told me to suck it up, so why should I open up to her? I told her I just want to go back to our old life and have some privacy in our house again. She got defensive and told me mother-in-law is doing us a huge favor and it's short term and I just need to deal with it. She told me I'm being an asshole for letting it affect me so much and acting like a petulant teenager about it. Now in the comments, no assholes here. Men, I get it. I'm someone who likes their space, and living with someone who has a different personality and communication style can be super tough. And it certainly doesn't help when someone else essentially invalidates your struggle. I'm going with no assholes here because it sounds like a stressful time. But the anger? Snapping at your wife? Not a healthy coping mechanism. For a lot of guys, anger is the only emotion that they've learned to think of as acceptable. So they'll skip right past embarrassed, overwhelmed, claustrophobic, sad, and frustrated straight to anger. That's because it robs you of the chance to experience, work through, and deal with those less destructive emotions before your brain moves straight to, let's burn this motherfrickin' relationship to the ground. You are trying to hold in the anger, and it sounds like it's not working well. I can't recommend specific strategies, but I can recommend that you do some research and see if you can find a better way to manage your emotions. Keep on this path though, and you will, without question, become the asshole. I think everything eventually turns to anger if you don't have a good way to process your feelings. That's one of the most difficult things about this situation. It sounds like he tried to talk to his wife about what he's feeling, and she shut him down. Of course, she is also most likely processing her own complicated feelings, but you can't really blame a guy for getting pissy when he has no good alternative to swallowing his feelings. Especially considering the emotions overwhelmed, claustrophobic, frustrated weren't skipped at all. It's just that OP currently can't escape those feelings. Then add on that he's being negged about it in front of mother-in-law, which is not a good time to clear up any of those emotions, and to top it off, the moment he is opening up about these emotions, he's told to swallow them and be grateful about it. OP didn't skip straight to anger at all. It's a result of his wife's communication. She's not even acknowledging that it's okay for him to feel like that currently, which it is OP. She's straight up telling him to stop having these emotions at all. At a certain point, some amount of anger about the situation is completely understandable. It's not like he's acting out on his anger. He's not yelling at his mother-in-law. He even fully acknowledges that she is a tremendous help for them. There is only so much someone can do before becoming so overwhelmed, their communication just breaks down entirely. No arseholes here. This is a stressful situation, and everyone is doing the best they can. Since mother-in-law is already there, maybe you and wife can sneak away for a weekend alone. And OP replies, I asked my wife about this, and she said that since mother-in-law is already watching our son for 40 hours a week, she doesn't want to ask her to do more than she already is. Which I get and understand. Chasing a 2-year-old around all day is exhausting, so I haven't pushed on this. Lord at that point. Maybe spring for mother-in-law to go away for a weekend with a friend as a thank you for her help, and then it'll just be a regular weekend at home without her for a few days. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for trying to teach my daughters what I thought was menstrual etiquette? I, 50 male, have 3 children, 2 daughters who are 18 and 12, and a son who is 15. Over the summer, my youngest got her first period. I always try to make sure that we're well stocked, so I showed her where she could find the necessary supplies, as well as the bottle of ibuprofen in the medicine cabinet. Not knowing whether or not her mum had the talk with her, I asked if she had any questions or if she needed anything. She told me that she'd rather talk to her sister if that was okay. Not wanting to make her uncomfortable, I said that it was fine, but told her that if she ever needed anything, to not be afraid to ask me. Thursday night, it was just my youngest 2 and I, as my oldest daughter was at work. I hit the bathroom and noticed a couple drops of blood on the toilet seat and the floor. No biggie, I wiped it up and went about my business. Maybe I was wrong to assume, but I figure that my daughter is still getting the hang of things, and if my son was bleeding, he would come and tell me. So when I went to say goodnight, I asked my daughter if she was on her period. I immediately could tell that she was embarrassed when she asked why. I told her that I wasn't trying to embarrass her, but there was a little blood on the seat, and that it's not a big deal, but it's a good habit to make sure that the toilet is clean before you leave the bathroom. I meant this in general for anything you do in the bathroom. She said okay, we said goodnight, and that was that. Again, I don't care. The only reason I brought this up is because she spends every weekend at her friend's house, and I feel like it's just good etiquette. You never know how someone's going to take it, and figured it was better coming from me. My older daughter, though, told me this morning that my younger daughter was crying a little bit and was completely humiliated. I feel horrible. I didn't mean any harm, I was just trying to help. She hasn't talked to me much today, and I can tell that she's avoiding me. I don't know if I should apologize or let it go. I don't know how to make this right. And edit to add, to clarify some things, this wasn't my daughter's first period. This would be likely her second or third. My older daughter didn't come at me angrily. She said that my younger daughter was crying, and when asked, said that I humiliated her but wouldn't answer how. So older daughter asked me what had happened. I've had sole custody of my older daughter since she was about 12, so I've been through this before. But my older daughter was smooth sailing. She comes to me about everything. My youngest two just came to live with me full time at the end of May. Their mum is around, but they're not on the best of terms right now. I do realize that I might have overstepped a boundary. I just want my younger daughter to feel comfortable coming to me with things. I don't want my oldest to feel like she has to be a mother figure for her siblings. Also, I greatly appreciate the awards, upvotes, and kind words. Things have been a bit rough for my kids, and I really am trying my best. So it was very nice to hear that I seem like a good dad. Thank you. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I told my daughter that she left some blood on the seat and humiliated her. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up at all. Now in the comments, not the asshole. Talking from experience, she was probably just a little overwhelmed and embarrassed. It takes a while to get used to having a period, and you mentioned that she wanted to talk to her sister about these things. Totally reasonable, talking to other women is not as embarrassing. So maybe a mix of everything led her to that reaction. As much as I dislike the stereotype that women are more emotional during periods, this is probably it. First periods, first accidents. It's nothing that I'd worry about. No assholes here. You were doing great. I think as another poster said, kids are often just terribly embarrassed about toilet stuff in general, be it urine drops, not brushing the loo, or a drop of blood. Normalize, move on, don't dwell, and she'll get that it's important, but not the end of the world. Edit to add, it's a hygiene issue after all, and we don't dodge those. Yeah, we all really appreciate raising kids with good hygiene. I shared a house last year with a 20-year-old who left blood on the toilet on more than one occasion, and I was too chicken to bring it up and deal with her embarrassment. OP, you're a good parent, and it probably goes without saying that 12-year-olds are squirmy, emotional beings, and that's that. And our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for forcing my stepson to clean up after himself in the bathroom? Quick and dirty one for you, Reddit. My 11-year-old stepson has this wild habit of just absolutely blowing up, poo bombing, the only toilet in the house every time he has to drop the kids off at the pool. I mean, crap. Historically, myself or whoever uses the restroom after him has gotten out the bowl cleaner and toilet brush and given it the old 1-2 ourselves. Recently, I figured he's old enough to start tidying up after himself in that department. He's getting bigger, which means other things are getting bigger too, and it's reached a point that I feel it's worth chatting about. He finds it funny and gross, but hasn't, thankfully, developed any embarrassment or anything around his bathroom habits. I checked in with Hubs, Biodad, who gave me the all clear to start showing the little bloke how to take care of himself and the facilities. I started him off with some preventative strategies, like laying a bit of TP down before he sits down for the job, and then showed him, with an already clean toilet, how to spray in the cleaner and scrub the porcelain clean. He didn't love the tutorial, but I told him that we could do it together the first couple times until he got the hang of it himself. The last 3 explosions and the subsequent mess have resulted in an outright refusal by him to help clean or allow me to show him how to take care of the shitstorm. He says it's too gross, and that parents are supposed to do these things for their kids. Here is where I might be the asshole. I doled out a consequence the last time. I told him he was welcome to come with me to the restroom, and I'd show him how to clean it up again, or we would need to do a screen-free day, which is a normal consequence in our home. I do not want to be in a power struggle with a 5th grader, but this issue is pretty close to a hill that I'm willing to die on. Dad continues to support me, but did suggest he might be a bit young to be expecting this level of buy-in to scrubbing the loo. My stepson thinks I'm an asshole for having this expectation of him. Am I? Should I just let it go until he naturally wants to start tidying up after himself in the bathroom? How young is too young for toilet cleaning duty? Edit. We live in Australia, and we have low-flow water toilets. The young man is not having explosive diarrhea every time he goes to the bathroom, plus mum and dad are on top of his health. Now in the comments, no assholes here. I'm 47, I have never developed a natural want to clean a toilet. I like a clean one, but if I never had to actually clean it myself, I would be just dandy. You are absolutely on the right track. 11 is more than old enough to start cleaning up after himself, and perhaps a visit to the doctor to see why he's consistently having explosive shits may be in order. That's odd. But you are not considering this. If you blew up someone else's toilet, would you not clean up after yourself, or would you leave it to the homeowners to find? Yes, he's 11, but he's old enough to know how to use a toilet brush, so I have to disagree and say not the asshole. P.S. I don't know how most of you live with dirty toilet bowls, especially if you live with many people. I could never. Not the asshole. He's not too young to do this, he just doesn't want to. You might want to let dad force the issue though before you become the step monster over some poo stains. Yes to all of this. Obi, my son who is 5 years old, helps clean the potty, as does my daughter who is 8. All chores are equal opportunity in the house, and we've been telling them that's your mess, so you clean it up, since they were about to. Within reason and with help when needed, obviously. He can do it, and he needs to do it. We all have things we don't want to do, but we do them anyway because that's just life. Not the asshole. 11 is old enough for him to scrub a toilet, especially since you're taking time to show him what to do. That said, this degree of mess makes me wonder if he has a bowel issue or a food allergy. This level of intestinal distress is worrisome. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.